Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Always Online Multiplayer Gaming Podcast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. magicman. We're doing the show live, as we always do, twitch.tv/MMOBomb, Fridays, 1 p.m. Eastern. We've got chat sitting by, ready to chime in on a number of topics, so if you've got some time, we're always here. And we do a little stream after the show, playing some various things, so come on over, hang out, and give your opinions live. If you're watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, Spotify, watching on MMOBomb.com, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Put a like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. You know the drill. And of course, the most important part, on the site or on YouTube, make sure you leave your weekly bombs or your question of the week answers, or both. They're vital parts of the show, and they 100% rely on you to stay in the show. We got a lot to cover today, and we're going to bring back another round of real or fake Steam reviews. Joining me to go over everything and play our game, he's back, Mr. Jason Winter.
I am the ghost of Podcast Pass, come to haunt you this Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Yeah, we're not dressed up. We normally dress
Look,
up.
I put on pants. That's dressed up enough for me.
You got
Enough for
like
costume.
something like black and orange maybe in the background there. What the hell is that?
Halloween bird, the scary Halloween raven bird thing.
It looked like a bird, but it looks like it's wearing a top hat from here.
It does look like a top hat, doesn't it? Yeah, because it is. It's a top hat, see?
Oh my god, it is!
Little top hat. It's also covered in cat hair.
I was like, what is it wearing a hat? What the
Why
hell?
not? It's got a little bow tie, too. Look at that. It's very formal.
It is very formal. Quoth the raven.
Yeah. Quote the raven going to a dinner party.
Yes. Also on the line, his competitor, Mr. Troy Blackburn, the Noob Fridge. What's up, sir?
Nobody told me we're supposed to wear pants to this.
You don't have to, but it's Halloween.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm dressed up. You know?
Okay.
you don't have to.
I'm Superman then.
I'm not even commenting. Let's get started with the news. I say that like we're actually going to start with news. We're not. I figured...
You did the news roll and everything.
I did. I figured Jason was joining us. Obviously, we had plugged last week that Jason was going to be here, so we were saving our kind of Overwatch first look discussion, which is up on the site and on YouTube.com. You can check out Jason Winter's first look video on all things Overwatch 2. But we were saving our kind of like in-depth analysis until this week when Jason had a chance to actually be here. We will do that. That'll be the last thing we talk about. But Jason, you normally write the fake headlines or the fake Steam reviews for our little games here, and you haven't had a chance to play. So what I thought we'd start off with is another round of real or fake Steam reviews. And for those of you playing at home, make sure when you give us your weekly bombs and question of the week answers in the comments that you let us know how you did. The rules are the same as last time. I've got 7 games here. I'll tell you the game, and I will read you 2 reviews. I will also let you know if they rated it recommended or not recommended. However, that has nothing to do with it. So, like, if they put a review or if there's a fake review, I put a real review and they recommended it, I'm not going to try and trip you up by saying they clicked not recommend. The recommended status really doesn't impact anything here besides information for you. And there's always the disclaimer that I don't organize these by times. So they could be referencing a feature or a problem with the game that has obviously since been fixed. I have picked the reviews more for their entertainment value than anything else. So, gentlemen, are you ready?
Just to be clear, you wrote the fake reviews?
I did. I got the real ones off of Steam, and I wrote the fake ones as well. I am the author of both. There are 7 games.
Well, technically you're not the author of the first. Someone else, some other random.
Right. I am the copier of one and the writer of another one.
There you go.
I am the plagiarizer of one and the writer of another one. I do also have scores, so let's give you scores. so that everybody at home sees how you do and I don't accidentally not give you a point like I did many months ago. Our first game, and I guess Jason, as the guest, Troy, do you have a problem if Jason gets to decide here? We'll give
No, by
Jason
all
the
means.
decision. Would you like to guess on the first one first, or would you like Troy to guess first?
I'm doing it. Put me in first.
Put you
Coach.
in first, Coach. All right. Game 1 is Black Desert Online. Chat, obviously, feel free to throw your answers in here. We've got 2 reviews. One is not recommended and says, I'm not saying the game is pay to win, but you can pretty much equip your wallet as a main weapon. The second review is also not recommended and says, I'm not saying that the game is pay to win, but a required monthly sub would be cheaper. One of those is real, one of those is fake. What's the real one, Jason? Equipping your wallet as a main weapon or a monthly sub being cheaper?
I think the real one is the wallet.
You think the real one is number 1, the wallet?
Yes.
Chat chiming in. So far, most of chat seems to think it's the sub one that's real. Troy, which one do you think is real? Wallet as a main weapon or a monthly sub being cheaper?
I think the wallet is one that you came up with, so I think the second one is real.
So Jason takes number 1 as real. Troy takes number 2. So automatically, we're going to have somebody up 1-0.
I think number 1 is more clever, so I figure Mike didn't write it. That's why I had to ask who wrote these. Who, me, of course, I don't know.
I never so badly wanted you to be wrong, but you are in fact right. The wallet is the real one. Jason gets 1 point to Troy's 0. It's okay, Troy. You have plenty of time to come back. And in fact, you get to guess first on this one with a game very near and dear to both of your hearts, Guild Wars 2.
Okay.
Troy, the first review is a recommended review and says, as a hentai furry artist, this game has provided me enough commissions to buy my first Tesla. The second review is a not recommended one that says, awesome, the game finally comes to Steam, but you'll have to start over. Get bent, A-Net. One real, one not real. Which one's the real one?
I think the second one's the real one.
The second one about the Steam linking of old accounts. All right.
Yeah, you can start over.
Jason, are
I
hentai
think the
furry
first one is
artists
real.
getting mad commissions real? Or people being upset about non-Steam linking to original accounts? The real one.
I mean, having spent at least $3,000 on my Guild Wars 2 hentai furry commissions to someone, then yeah, I definitely think the number 1 is real.
Number 1. And it looks like it's mixed in chat too. Jason, you're right again. The hentai furry artist getting enough commissions for the Tesla. Kind of running away with it, Troy. Got to be careful here. There's only
Jason was right. I'm giving you too much credit for creativity.
Yeah.
All right, Jason, you get to go first. The game is Star Wars The Old Republic.
Okay.
SWTOR. One review is recommended and says, I started playing this game a lot a year ago. I was sad and didn't have many friends. I still am, but now I play a cool Star Wars game. The next review is not recommended and says, yeah, it has lightsabers, fine, but seriously, this should have just been KOTOR 3. P.S. The PvP sucks as hard as Jabba eating that slimy frog thing. One of those is a real SWTOR review. One of those is not on Steam. Which one is the real one?
I think the second one is real.
Jabba sucking things.
Sucking Jabba.
Sucking Jabba is real. Troy, which one is the real one? Sad and lonely, but at least you're playing a cool Star Wars game, or sucking hard like Jabba?
I think the first one is real.
I think the first one is real. Chat,
Yeah.
Ninja and chat.
If I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose terribly. at
They
this
both
point.
could be
Jeez.
true. Troy, you gain a point here. The real one is I started playing this game a lot a year ago. I was sad and didn't have many friends. I still am, but now I play a cool Star Wars game is the real review. Troy, on the board.
No shutout.
And my creativity got Jason on that one, so suck it, like Jabba. All right, game 4, one very near and dear to me. Most of chat hanging around at the 1 out of 2, 1 out of 3. Some people are 2 out of 3. You got to guess on all of them. Game near and dear to myself, Final Fantasy XIV. One of these is a valid Steam review that is you can find online. The other is not. Who goes first here? Troy, you go first here.
Me.
The first review is not recommended. Seriously, I don't get it. It's WoW with a Final Fantasy skin. Sure, that's a fun thing, but damn people, stop putting me on blast for not liking it all that much. Fucking Onion Knights. The second one is recommended and says, failed college, lost my job, lost my girlfriend, lost my home, family has disowned me, my ass is now permanently infused with my spine, am now playing this game in an alleyway behind Starbucks in a cardboard box, 10 out of 10. With an edit that says, lost my box.
Oh my God, the second one has to be real.
It just has to be real, right?
It
just has to be real, right? All right, so you're going with the second one.
Yeah, I'm going with the second one.
What do you got, Jason?
I'm a little split on this.
WoW with a Final Fantasy skin, but slapping somebody with a Final Fantasy burn? Or somebody down on their luck and just lost their box? Which is a weird thing to say out loud now that I think about it.
Yeah, I'll go with number 2 as well.
Both going with number 2 as the real one.
Yeah.
Both scoring the point as well.
Yeah.
That puts Troy at 2 and Jason at 3.
We know Mike would never lose his box.
Never. We got 2 left. Troy, you're not out of it yet. You're still in striking range, but it's going to require... I'm sorry, we got 3 left, 5, 6, and 7. So you're still in striking range, but it's going to require, at some point, you and Jason conflicting on one. So you can't even play the we'll pick the same thing mind game right now.
Nope.
I'm playing for my head here. I got the advantage.
So, Troy, I'm going to give you one about a game very near and dear to you.
Wait, don't I go first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that this game is near and dear to Troy.
Oh, okay.
The game is Mortal Online 2.
We know what the main feature of this game is.
Oh my God.
Here's your first review, Jason. It's recommended. The game isn't that great, has a lot of bugs, and combat is kind of boring. But you know what? It sure beats Bless Online. The second one is also a recommended review that says, made friends with a tiny demon Frenchman who showed me how to shove people out of bounds while they're AFK. One real, one not real. Mortal Online 2 and a 1-point match. Which one's the real one, Jason?
I think number 2 is real.
The shoving people out of bounds while they're AFK.
The Frenchman, French demon. Yep.
Troy, it's on to you. It beats Bless Online or French demon men showing you how to shove people out of bounds?
No, I'm going to go with the French demon man.
Both of you get the point there. It is the French demon man. So 1 point for each of you. Troy keeping it close. At some point, going to have to make a move, but maybe he's playing a higher game than us. And just, I know when I'm going to make the move.
Okay. Playing 5D chess.
Yeah, he is. Troy, you're first, and this is a quick one. The game is Path of Exile. The first review says it's recommended, and the review says it's okay, and has 19,000 plus hours played. The second review is not recommended, and says it sucks, and also has 19,000 plus hours
Damn
played.
it. I knew you were going to do one like this. I just knew it. As soon as you said this is what we're doing, I was like, there's going to be one where it's 19,000 hours and somebody says it sucks.
What do you think? It's
Oh
okay
my
at 19K hours or it sucks at 19K hours? Which one of those is actually on the Steam page?
I'm going to go with it's okay.
You're going to go with it's okay at 19,000 hours played.
Yes.
What do you
this
got,
is-
Jason?
This is not me playing it safe. I think it actually is the okay one.
It is, in fact, the okay one. Yeah. It is, in fact, the okay one.
19,000 a little bit much for people to say it sucks.
Yeah, go check.
1900 maybe. I could
Go
dig it.
check Path of Exiles. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you dug long enough if you found one that said it sucks at 19,000 hours played. I just had not. So both of you get the point, which means, Troy, you basically have to make your move on this last one to try and tie the score, or Jason, you will walk away with the win. It is 5-4 right now. Both of you doing really well. Both of you doing really well.
My experience in writing these, I can detect the lies.
The last game, Jason, goes to you first and is Soul Worker.
Oh, God, that thing.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that in 6 months.
The first review is recommended and says big bobs and small bobs. The second one is not recommended and says, if you like waifus, sure, Soul Worker nails that spot, but at the same time, it's probably putting your name on a list somewhere you don't want to be on. So big bobs and small bobs, or being on a list you don't want your name on by playing?
I think the first one is real.
I think the first one is real. Troy, do you just take the 1 point loss and try to go to 5 points by picking the exact same answer and both of you getting it right? Or do you switch answers from Jason here and try to tie the score, hopefully, if you are the correct one? What's the move?
I think the first one is real, but I'm going to guess 2 because I'm going to go for the tie here.
You're going to go for the tie, but your heart tells you that
go down fighting.
Yeah, the heart tells me I'm just playing the game right now. I'm not making a guess.
All right.
I'm just playing the numbers game.
And you lose the game. Jason, you got it. And Troy, you were right. You had it. So it could have been a 6-5 game, but it goes down as a 6-4 matchup in Jason's favor. Congratulations, Jason Winter. Not too bad. Not too shabby. You missed one. You missed one.
Yeah.
I got you with Jabba sucking things.
Sucking Jabba's what got me.
Sucking Jabbas. Takal, 3 out of 7. Ninja, I don't know how Ninja's 4 out of 2, unless you're telling me you got
Just
4
4
right and 3 wrong.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Jace with 4 right and 3 wrong. So a lot of chat coming in right with you, Troy. Jason kind of running away with it. Nice job, Jason.
I'll PayPal you the money later for when you slip me the answers before the show.
When I accidentally sent you the answers for this week's show and the show notes for last week's show.
There we go. Yep.
All right, now let's actually talk about some gaming news. Why don't we? I mean, that is why we're here, right?
I suppose.
Maybe. Let's talk about kind of like a mixed bag of things, because we're going to talk about Overwatch 2 in depth, but we talked, I think somebody mentioned last week about the death of Fault Elder Orb, which I don't think any of us are really surprised by. That was like more of a fan-made project using the Paragon MOBA assets. And those usually only survive so long, and so while sad, I don't think anybody was surprised by it. What you might be surprised by is that Paragon lives yet again. Again. This time, though, it's not a fan-made thing. It's actually by Netmarble. Now, they generally do a lot of mobile stuff. You might know them recently from the Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds mobile thing with NFTs and shit. And not generally well received, but you've heard of Netmarble. They're actually bringing Paragon back thanks to Epic just dumping those millions of dollars worth of assets, and they've kind of picked up where the company originally left off when, Jason, you and I still believe to this day, Fortnite stabbed this game in the face. Paragon in the face. They were like, oh, yeah, this is Fortnite's taken off? Yeah, okay, we're done with Paragon. There's going to be an early access period next month. You can apply through a link on the site that we have on MMOBomb.com. There's already been closed beta tests and videos of that with in-game currency rewards, and we've had some people comment and let us know, so thank you for that. But this kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I expected fan stuff like Fault Elder Orb to pick up, but did you really see like a company with millions of dollars worth of resources, Jason, grabbing those assets and continuing with the Paragon movement?
I couldn't see anybody picking up the game after it closed down by Epic, not even the Elder Orb people. It's like this is getting into Legends of Aria territory where it's like it shuts down and then 6 months later someone else starting it up again. Shuts down 6 months later, 6 months later someone else starts it up again. It's like I don't get it. I get some people liked it, but some people like every game that gets shut down. Why this one? Is this because the assets are free? So it's like you cobble a few menus together, or whatever, and there you're done. I don't understand the popularity or the perceived popularity of it.
So here's the thing, Troy. I know you like this one when and you had gripes with it, but you enjoyed this MOBA. Paragon was actually a MOBA I kind of enjoyed playing, and I'm not generally a MOBA guy. I had problems with initially it felt slow, like way too slow. And then they did some stuff when Epic was working on it that sped the game up, but then they made some other changes that really kind of drove me from the game. And it was still a very much in development thing when they kind of killed it. It still was trying to find the balance of everything. So I'm not surprised that people messed with it, particularly when Epic gives out $12 million worth of assets and says, do whatever the hell you want with them. And they were nice assets, whether you made Paragon a MOBA
Nice
again
assets,
or not.
baby.
Nice assets. You had some cool stuff to work with and didn't have to pay for it. That's cool. So I'm not surprised that people tinkered with it. I am surprised that a company that has millions of dollars was like, yeah, we're going to take that. We're going to take that, Troy.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're expecting out of this. The game never was. I mean, it had its moment in the sun for sure, but that's all it was because, like you said, it was still very much in development, pretty much the entire time it was running, and towards the end, they kind of ran off their own player base, and if anything would have proven that there was a market for this, I think the Fault Elder Orb game would have proven there's a market for this. Sometimes you just need to let games die. And sometimes there's a reason games die, and sometimes you just need to let it go. And the fact that a larger company has kind of swooped in and grabbed this up is really surprising. And it's surprising that they're continuing on with it even after playing around with it, because this game never was like a gangbuster game to begin with. And I don't know that there's enough of an audience left especially for a more AAA type publisher to make any kind of money off of it.
Yeah, and I'm not really hopeful for it, right? It is Netmarble. They are generally known for mobile experiences, so I could imagine the game being catered towards that. You know, obviously you'll be able to play it on PC too, but I would imagine at some point, just it being Netmarble, there would be some type of mobile integration. They aren't generally known for the best monetization styles either. So it's not like I have a lot of hope for the game or anything. But, Jason, I feel like maybe this is one that gets caught in this could have been something and never got the chance to get there. And that's kind of like I don't want to say nostalgia glasses, because you certainly don't look at Paragon the way you might look at something like Star Wars Galaxies that was super established at the time and got yanked away. But I do think there is an audience that looks at this and goes, man, this could have been if they would have continued, and maybe puts on some rose-tinted glasses that way when they decide to, well, let's tinker around and see if we can't get it there.
The flag of every person who has a game they kind of like getting shut down reads, "This could have been better." Then maybe it should have been. And then it wouldn't have shut down.
Yeah,
it's like
you
every
do
game,
have that extenuating circumstance that Fortnite started taking off, and so they just took the resources. I don't think you're wrong with that point, but I do think there is not saying it makes a huge difference in this case, but there is that one big difference in that they were actively working on this, and Fortnite took off, and Epic said, we want that whole team.
But they would have kept actively working on it if it would have been successful enough.
True.
It's like Overwatch didn't take off to the point. We'll talk about it later. It didn't take off to the point that Blizzard was like, "Well, World of Warcraft isn't any good anymore. Screw that. We're just going to put everything into Overwatch." No, if the game was good enough, then it would have succeeded on its own. Mm-hmm. I think of the same thing with Nosgoth.
A game you personally very much enjoyed.
I enjoyed it, but not so much that I was like, "Oh man, this game had so much potential. It had to come back. Why isn't it there anymore?" why did they go to Rocket League and abandon this? No, it was okay. I saw a lot of complaints about it, and because it was only okay, they got rid of it. So, it's what it is.
All I heard was Jason's sad Nosgoth is gone. That's all I heard there.
If some other company came out with Nosgoth, if Netmarble or whoever came out with Nosgoth now, I probably wouldn't play it. It's long gone. It vanished years ago, and
if Netmarble came out with Nosgoth, I wouldn't play it either.
Oh, yeah.
If Netmarble did it, I wouldn't either. Speaking of like huge mobile things, but also PC things, Microsoft is still feeling a little sad that they didn't get a piece of that Genshin Impact pie, baby. That they lost that one to Sony. And so there are reports now, according to Reuters, that Microsoft is actively courting Chinese companies in particular, but other companies as well, to find their own Genshin Impact. I guess they just ignored Tower of Fantasy. So they just, that's not it. It's close, but not it. But they are actively seeking their own Genshin Impact, presumably to put on Game Pass or whatever, and make exclusive to them, having been a little miffed over the bajillions of dollars that HoYoverse makes, Troy, from Genshin Impact.
You mean to tell me that Sony has something that Microsoft can't have? That almost contradicts Sony's argument that Microsoft is trying to buy stuff that they can't have, isn't it?
This is true. Well, remember, the rumors were that the Sony was delaying the PlayStation Showcase because they were going to be showing off a bunch of exclusive titles, and they didn't want the reception of those titles to kind of bolster Microsoft's argument with legislative bodies that, yeah, you'll be okay even if they took Call of Duty away. I did like Microsoft's latest thing, because they had said before, right, and we've talked about on this show, Jason, in these battles in different legislative bodies about, well, we're buying Activision, but we don't think they make any must-have games. And that must have made all the employees there feel real good. One of their more recent arguments against this whole Sony being miffed at potentially losing Call of Duty, and that's the hill they're going to die on in these debates, one of Microsoft's recent retorts were like, what if Call of Duty sucks? That's a powerful argument. That's a powerful argument.
I haven't seen that, but was that we saw the shareholders thing where it says we have all sorts of different possibilities that things can go bad. It could be a meteor strike, could be whatever, could be poor performance by our game. Well, yeah, and some news site picked up on that. Is like I said, Microsoft doesn't think next Call of Duty is going to be any good. And it's like, no, they put that in every financial report. So
yeah,
I don't know, but I know I've told this story before. Maybe I haven't on here, but Decipher, the card game company I used to work for back in the '90s, Star Wars. And Star Wars
Star Wars. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I pulled the starter decks out. I still have a bunch of starter decks for that, and my son and I were gonna give it a whirl, but we haven't had
winter's coming up soon. You can use them to burn, to heat them. That's what their value is. But anyway, back in '97, one of our executives went over to Japan to just look at the market over there and so forth. He came back. He said this Pocket Monsters thing wasn't going to be very good. It was just for too young of an audience, so we didn't pick it up. So that's what I think about when I see Microsoft being sad they didn't get Genshin Impact.
Womp.
Yeah.
Womp. Well, what if Call of Duty sucked? Anyway, they're looking for their own Genshin Impact. So don't be surprised. Which is funny, because then they have Honkai Star Rail coming out in 2023, which I think the 2023, if you look at Rose Hoppa's Twitter, was accidentally leaked today by a third party. So we don't know how accurate that date is, but I think it's safe to assume 2023 anyway, even without the leak.
Overall, it's not a bad strategy by Microsoft. Throw a few $1 million at a bunch of different, different indie companies. Hope one of them hits it big. So they can afford it.
The odds are again. Well, can they though? I mean, they're buying $65+ billion worth of Activision, and there's no doubt that Microsoft has a ton of money and is doing well, but
they're planning to make back $60 billion of that in the Overwatch 2 cash shop.
Yeah.
Right.
Phil Spencer did talk about now Xbox price increases coming up. Now, Sony had already announced them, right? We talked about that on Gaming Gumbo, Troy, you and I, and Phil Spencer saying at the time that it's just it's not the right time to increase prices on the consoles. But now acknowledging that, yeah, he kind of does it in a really vague way. Doesn't exactly tell you what's going to be priced higher. He says to The Verge, I do think at some point we'll have to raise the prices on certain things, but going into this holiday, we thought it important to maintain the prices. So through the holiday, fine. Afterwards, no holds barred. He continues, we've held price on our consoles, we've held price on games, and on our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on certain things. So really not confirming exactly what's going to be price increase, whether it's the consoles or going to a $70 retail game price point or increasing the Game Pass subscription rates. But yeah, it's unavoidable from Phil Spencer's perspective that these prices go up soon.
I think, unfortunately, at this point, it's unavoidable that we all reach a $70 price point for games. I think that's just going to be the reality.
So that means
they've got to find a. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Troy. Jason.
They got to find a way to afford the legal fees for when they try to boot out Bobby Kotick.
Yeah. Yeah. And their most recent report, by the way, on Game Pass subscriptions is, and it's the same report we got last time, still growing, but still meeting the growth expectations they keep setting for it. So
don't take away my $1 a month.
Yeah,
come on.
Take that for what it's worth. It's still growing, but not growing to the forecasts that they keep putting out for Game Pass. So does that mean, like, before the holidays, I should lock in a few years of my Game Pass price point? Because I feel like that's probably the one you increase first, is the Game Pass price point. And then, like, I think you wait on raising the console price as long as possible. Like, I think you do the $70 game thing, to your point, Troy. I think it's like subscription, game cost, console. 1, 2, 3 in that order. I just think what you really want to keep the console price under Sony's as long as possible. But then there's a lot of developers that are getting all pissed off at Microsoft right now too, asking, can we stop having to make our games capable for the Xbox Series S, the digital one? Can we, and the smaller one, can we please stop that? Because it's a requirement right now. If they make an Xbox Series X game, it has to work on the S too. And developers are feeling hamstrung by that on certain things they want to do. So it's not all roses in the world of Microsoft. And yeah, I agree with you, Chad. There's no way they're letting anybody do that. Chirac saying, I wouldn't mind $70, but they seem to add less meat to every game and just cover it in shiny graphics. Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft's going to push Skull and Bones out for $70. So...
Well, that's the case where they actually do have to cover the 25-year development cycle for that game. I can almost understand that one.
By that logic, it should be a $120 base edition.
Okay.
A $600 collector set. We're going to make it all back at once, or we ain't making it back at all. Let's do this. Let's do this. So, yeah, get ready for some price increases. We got a new Redfall trailer this week. This one looking a little bit more into story, but still isn't showing enough. The Into the Night trailer shows off some of the monsters, the vampires, the bloodsuckers, all of those different ones in the game coming from Arcane Austin. I still cannot wait for this game. I like looter shooters that are done well. I like cooperative looter shooters that are done well even more. Arcane has a relatively decent pedigree that it's not a developer I look at and go, I don't know. I like what I'm seeing in all these trailers. I love vampires. Like, this is tailor-made for me, and I keep watching it and keep getting excited about it. And this trailer is pretty awesome. I like this trailer. I really enjoy it.
I was going to say, this is a good-ass trailer.
It really is. The music's really banging, too.
If I had never had any kind of inclination to pay attention to the game before now, seeing this trailer would have been like, oh my God, what is this?
I do wish there was like Division 2 character customization. I get what they're doing where you're picking like one of 4 heroes and going from there, and there are ways through skill points to like make my hero 1 different from your hero 1, Jason. But I just wish this was like not a hero based game. I wish you did a character creation and then picked from one of 4 archetypes as your quote unquote class and modified it skill point wise from there. I know it's not MMO like the way Division is in that aspect of everybody's running around the same world. This is kind of we group together and go do stuff with 3 or 4 people, so you don't really have to worry about there are 70 million hero 1s running around the town and that breaking immersion. You don't really have to worry about that here. I get it. Just from a personal flavor standpoint, I really would have liked character creation rather than relying on skins and build to differentiate my character from yours.
I mean, that seems more appropriate for for games like this. Like, I think of like a Left 4 Dead kind of game as being in the same general vein, where you've got limited ability to really customize. So I don't know. That wouldn't strike me as a bad selling point. Everyone wants the MMO customization with 83,000 options, but
right. I would have been happy with just give me like Ghostbusters. There is like very little character customization in there. There's a lot of skin. Oh, that game's fun, dude. That game is a lot of fun.
I've watched 2 different people stream it, and I'm like, this is boring.
Oh, I think it's fun. I enjoy it. That's
because you're just a fan of you're a fan of the genre of the IP.
Well, yeah, and the asymmetric gameplay genre. I'd say I think it's fair to say I'm a fan of those. Troy, you're the same way. Yeah. But yeah, this trailer is awesome. Troy, you and I are jumping into this day 1, right? We're squadding up and going.
Absolutely.
Troy,
uninstalling day 3.
Damn, I missed that pessimism. So you're not picking this one up?
No.
Doesn't do anything for you?
I don't have friends.
That's true. Ninja Panda says, a new Star Ocean trailer dropped today. Yeah, but the game dropped yesterday. So, like, I don't think you need to watch the trailer. If you want to play it, go play it. I still haven't gotten a chance to. I installed it, but I didn't have a chance to boot it up yet. On the final flip side of just some rando news, good old Blizzard. The union is accusing them of more anti-union propaganda, this time posting it in internal Slack channels. Now, we talked about last time Blizzard Albany winning their battle and getting the right to vote, their QA team getting ready to vote on a union later in, I think it's early November that they're doing that. But now they're being accused of having Chief Communication Officer Lulu Chen Maservi posting a message on the company's Slack, and the Communication Workers of America, the CWA union, claims that, what they posted is anti-union propaganda, basically saying, hey, because they're doing this, if they vote and they unionize, we're not going to be able to do raises or salary increases or any of these other benefits because we'll be tied up in negotiations that take forever. Disagreements that they disagree that a handful of employees should get to decide for everyone the future of the entire Albany-based Diablo team. That's not exactly what happens here, but is a key talking point for Blizzard. Now, the best part of this is that it was in company internal Slack channels, so thousands of workers had access to this, but in a company saying, hey, we're trying to open up our communication chains and listen to our employee, you were not allowed to reply.
Every voice matters.
Every voice matters, but not on this Slack post. So employees did clown emote the hell out of this in their reaction emojis to the post. But for crying out loud, she
took off on Twitter, just telling everyone, "Oh, but we don't understand why you want this. We don't get why you're so combative and everything." And she's just she's just a troll. She's a troll.
It's just an absolute these are the executives. These are the executives.
She's a childish troll.
So I guess
she's a childish troll who knows what she's doing.
Frankly. Knows absolutely what she's doing. No doubt. So way to go, Blizz. And I guess way to go, Blizz. We'll use that as the segue into Overwatch 2, into some Overwatch 2 chat. I did mention the first look is up, MMOBomb.com. You can also check it out on YouTube. Jason spends about 25 minutes or so checking out the game, the gameplay, the heroes, the cash shop, like gives you the whole rundown as somebody that is...
No, I didn't give the whole rundown because I was so angry about so many things. I left like 10 things out that I was going to talk about. Kind of makes me mad. That's what makes me the most mad about this video.
Go comment on it. Go comment on it. Some things I left out in my anger. Okay, so
I'm doing it here. That's what this is for. This was coming.
I gotta ask like the main question first, Jason. You've played over 1,000 hours of the original Overwatch. You watch a ton of Overwatch League. Your independent streams you are now sponsored, I believe, by
not my streams, my Twitter account.
Your Twitter account, yeah, by an Overwatch team. Congrats.
Net.
So, like, you are not an Overwatch casual fan. Like, you love this thing, the original.
I
loved this thing. How'd you feel going into the sequel?
Now, by going in, at what point do you mean? Like when I first heard about it, when the development was going on, when I actually started
Did you
playing?
kind of have the mindset of, okay, I get what they're doing, but this really should have been DLC? Or, hey, I understand why this should be a sequel? Like, what was your mindset as launch was approaching?
I feel like
were you looking forward to this, or were you skeptical of it already?
I mean, I was on board with the gameplay, having again watched the Overwatch League, which has been using Overwatch 2 since May. So I watched it and thought, okay, it looks pretty fun. I was in a couple of the betas. I kind of liked playing it there too, so I liked the gameplay of it. That was not an issue. Even I could still tell that the cash shop was going to be a little iffy. Like I expected it to be a little iffy, which of course you always expect when a game goes free to play.
But they removed loot boxes.
Ooh, yeah, which I never bought anyway, but whatever.
And now we're in a fucking timeline right now, gentlemen, that people are lamenting the fact that loot boxes aren't in the game.
People want them back.
They're like, can we just do loot boxes? This is so bad. Can we go back to just loot boxes?
Well, one of the other posts on Reddit from a guy said to buy all the things that I would have, that I got while playing Overwatch 1 would cost me about $10,000. That's what he added it all up to. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like people who were like buying the Watchpoint pack, I was like, you're gonna regret that. I think.
Yeah.
Wait till it comes out. Don't put your trust in the company, and a lot of them did, and a lot of them are sad about it. So.
Troy, what did you think?
I wanted to ask Jason a question. Playing Overwatch 2, is it really a sequel, or should it have been just an addition to the game?
Oh, and remember, I mean, they cut it from 6v6 to 5v5 and added maps, and they did some changes, but that's all arguably DLC stuff. The big piece of this was that they were going to be adding PvE, which isn't coming until next year.
Yeah. I mean, as a PvP game, you could maybe make the argument that, it should have just been like a big patch or whatever, but having changed out what they did, not only the 5v5, but also a lot of the heroes having significant changes. Again, I don't know if it's weird because you don't really... The original Overwatch wasn't really a PvE game either, and yet that's going to be what they add to it. So it's like, is that what really should have been calling 2? What do you call this then?
Yeah.
What do you call
Overwatch 1.5?
Overwatch 1.5?
Yeah.
If the PvE stuff is 2, then what's this? I don't know. So it's weird, but whatever. I'm not big on caring about the name of it. That's not my issue.
Well, and I was until they said, hey, the second one's going to be free to play. Because then I was like, okay, you're not asking somebody to shell out money for that initial box purchase while having the argument of, is this really a sequel, or should this just have been DLC? Then now you're trying to get a full box price for. Like, when they said it was free to play, I was like, okay, I don't care what the hell you call it now at this point then, because you're not asking me for the box fee. So it could be a big DLC or a small sequel. It doesn't matter. I don't feel cheated either way because I'm not paying for it. But then we did start to see monetization details, hero unlocking details, battle pass details.
The fact that those were only revealed like 2 weeks before launch should have been like the biggest of red flags that anybody could have thought of.
Right. And keep in mind here that, yes, if you were an Overwatch 1 player, you did get, by default, a bunch of the stuff that people were griping about. But I also think it should be noted, you're not going to get that every season. You get that this first season to get you into it, and then that's it.
First, it's free.
Yeah,
Yep, it's free.
exactly. My son actually came down with the Switch, I think it was last night, and he put it in the dock because he was going to install Overwatch 2. And I said, I need a bunch of his friends. He was like, yeah, I'm not really keen on it, but a bunch of my friends are doing it. And he was like, and I played Overwatch 1, so I get, the heroes and this oddball stuff. And I said, yeah, this season. And he was like, wait, what? And I said, yeah, that's just season 1, bro. That's just season 1. Just season 1. Now the monetization has like seemingly got worse as we go on. With the Halloween event coming in, and just like the prices of legendary skins, and like they are arguably, I watched Belluar and team talk about like they're doing flat out illegal stuff in the shop.
Yep. No. See, the skin isn't that much. It's a discount. It's like a 25% discount.
Right.
On the skin that's never been offered anywhere else before.
Right. Perpetually always on discount. Like, that is illegal. You're not allowed to do that.
In some countries, like Australia.
Right.
And unfortunately, Australia has never cracked down on video games before, so it won't be a problem.
Right. So, Jason, I'm going to let you go then. You got a few minutes. What did you not cover in the first look? And then we'll kind of wrap it up with where you stand now, because this just isn't a game I'm going to play. I can sit here and mock the monetization as much as I want. I will probably play a dozen Overwatch 2 matches in my life. I may check out the PvE stuff as that comes, depending on how they roll that out cash-wise, if there's any type of fees associated with that. But I'm probably going to play a dozen Overwatch 2 games in my matches in my life. So it's all well and good for me to mock and make fun of terrible monetization. But what about somebody that actively wants this to be a good experience from top to bottom?
Then wait and hope they change it. That's the advice. And I don't know that they will. I think Blizzard lost money over the past couple of years of Overwatch 1, that they're put their heels in the ground. And remember, they did with the Hearthstone when they first put in the Battle Pass in there. They're like, oh, okay, we're screwed up. We'll make it better now. I don't think they're going to give that ground again. I really don't. I think they're going to stick with this. They're going to stick by their guns. And if it fails, it fails. They're going to just deal with it. Or they're going to keep it up and just hope that it's going to be like Overwatch 1 again. After 3 years or so, 2-3 years of it not doing much, it's going to just basically be maintenance mode.
Yeah.
I think that's the future of Overwatch, unless they do somehow decide in their charity that they want to actually change things out.
I mean, it's going to take players, right? I mean, it's going to take players not spending money. That's literally it. This is one where the only option, and it may not even work, but the only option you literally have is to vote with your wallet. And the plus side on that decision is we're not talking about me interested in playing Dragonflight and having to buy that expansion and resub and not wanting to give Blizz money, which is the situation I'm in now. And I'm talking to a number of friends that work at Blizz so that I can, make a decision on, do I end my boycott of their products cash-wise or not? You have the benefit of you can go play. You don't have to support them financially, and you still get to play. That's a pretty good spot to be in. But it's going to take everybody saying, no, this is unacceptable. I'm not giving you a dime for Blizzard to even remotely consider making changes.
And while there certainly are going to be people who are still going to spend no matter what, and you look at and everyone's like, oh, people are griping about it on Reddit, whatever, who cares, just Reddit. There's a difference between some people complaining about something and literally every thread on Reddit talking about how much they hate this, asking for loot boxes to be bad. Like I said in the video, the one guy who was like, I love the new monetization, Blizzard. It's great. I'm not even remotely tempted to spend money. I love that I'm saving so much money by not playing this.
You don't think a single player on Earth has ever actually held up a boycott? I boycotted Tryon Worlds for 2 years. I haven't, although I have wanted to, I have not given Blizzard money since the California stuff was announced.
Now, as it turns out, I had like $15 in my Blizzard account, so I'll probably wind up buying the pass for Season 2 just to get the hero, but...
Yeah, and
So
both of
then-
those, by the way, aren't boycotts that were like easy to just say, okay, I'm not going to give them money because I wasn't an active player anyway. Like I was an active Rift player with a sub at the time and wanted to continue doing so and made the decision not to for 2 years.
even people buying the battle pass and getting all the levels and stuff are looking at the cosmetics and are like, this is dull
It's
compared
the
to what
same
we
thing
used to
with
get.
WoW. Like I've
Yeah.
thought about I wanted to mess around in Wrath Classic, you know, but I just haven't. I'm not going to give them any money. That's been what, a year and a half, 2 years now too.
But to call, you said it could be 1,000 threads. Doesn't matter if the money's rolling in.
Yeah, you're
but
right.
If there are,
You're right.
but most of the time when people are claiming that, there's like 10 threads. If there are 1,000, that's the difference. It's like, oh, everyone gets offended by something. It's like, sure, okay, if 10 people are offended by your thing, not a big deal. If 10,000 or 10 million are, then it kind of is. You can't just say, well, everybody's going to be mad. Well, someone's going to be mad about everything. Well, yeah, but the number of someones is what matters. Maybe this is enough.
I hate the fact that you can't earn a season premium battle pass by having a season premium battle pass and playing the hell out of it. Do you know the last time I actively paid cash for a Rocket League battle pass? Season 1 free to play. Because then I gained enough levels that I had credits to purchase the next season's pass. You can only, even if you max out your daily, weekly, and all that shit here in Overwatch 2, you can buy the first season battle pass, start accruing currency through your weeklies, your dailies, and the pass and all that stuff. But even if you max that out and you do it every day, every week, you know, you're tied to this game, and that's okay because you absolutely love this game. You can only earn a little over half of the cost of the next season. So you can buy every other season. I hate that. That's just like so freaking greedy.
And if you do that, you're not buying any skins.
Yes, you cannot spend any of that on skins or anything.
You get 60 cents worth of currency per week. That's the most you can do if you get all 12 of your weeklies, and those take a while.
And you know what's a shame? Everything I've heard from Overwatch fan friends of mine, the game is fun. Like the gameplay is nailed.
It's got some issues, but the fact that support players get dove on a lot.
Well, yeah. Balance aside.
Apparently, competitive is also screwed up because it's like matchmaking is kind of wonky. If people like in this rank fighting out playing against people with this rank, so it's not even great on that front. Like, but maybe that's a thing that can be fixed. I get it. That's maybe easy.
They're not making any balance changes till December. They've said till till the end of the season.
Sure. I mean,
with the exception of the what Batista fixes.
Like Bastion.
Sorry, Bastion. Batista.
Yeah, obviously.
Coming in from the wrestling world to Overwatch shit up.
He's another guy.
Yeah, Batista. Troy, have you even checked it out? Like, I don't even know if you play the original Overwatch.
No, I don't play anything Blizzard nowadays for quite a long time now. So, and this seems like just the same old Blizzard BS that it always is nowadays.
That's what I was saying in the video. It's like new people aren't going to be interested in this.
No,
the veteran players aren't interested in this. So who wants to play this? In my case, it's me having not had any kind of new content in the game for like 2 years.
Right.
So I want to do this, but then I'll drop out within a few months.
Yeah, for people like you, sadly, it's if you don't play this, you got nothing. Like there is no other. Then you might as well start looking at Apex Legends or Valorant or you look somewhere else.
No, not for me.
But if you want that Overwatch experience, it's this or bust. It's this or bust. Where do you rate it? I'm interested now. You've had a lot of time with it. Where do you rate it? Like 1 out of 10?
Oh, I was going to say thumbs down. I didn't know how to.
No, I'm going to make you be a little more specific than that. Because this is this is a franchise you are invested in, or at least always were. Whether you will be next year, we'll come back.
I'm going to call it a 4.
Really?
Ooh.
Below mediocre.
I'm not going to stick with it. I know. I already didn't even play like the last 2 days. And compared to how it was.
Well, now you're already behind on your pass. You're done.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's actually not as bad as I thought it would be, and it's not like I need it because I got the hero, but yeah, it's like it's sad too because when I first played Overwatch 1, when that came out, I played that like boom, 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 hours every day, and now it's like I'm like, I could, but I'm not going to get anything for it, so why bother?
Ninja Panda's trying to recruit you to Gundam Evolution. Hey, that's 6v6.
Well, that's the Overwatch clone thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
remember that.
6v6, baby.
Maybe that's the game. I'll have to try it out.
That's 6v6. All right. Let us know what you think now that we're, in the space where not much is going to change unless it stops making money, and that's all up to us. Let us know what you think of Overwatch 2 in the comments below. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. I'm going to go first. I'm going to give a dub bomb to Redfall. I'm just loving the look of it. I love the latest trailer, and I really want to play this game. Jason, predictably, I think we could probably guess where you're going to go today.
A bomb to Overwatch 2 and just kind of Blizzard in general. Yeah.
There it is. Go ahead, Troy.
Dub bomb to horror games on the Steam Deck. Been having a good time.
Right.
It's Halloweeny time. I've been playing horror games and been having a great time on the Steam Deck.
Woot. Woot. Love my Steam Deck. Absolutely love it. Oh, Jason, we forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this little image. Giving your
Oh, that too.
A-bomb.
That's what we're talking about. They're talking about my achievement from last week.
I did mention it on the show. I did
Oh, you
mention it
mentioned
on the show. But a dub bomb again to Jason for finally beating the Nightmare Tower in Guild Wars 2. Now I have nothing in that MMO that I can hold over his head. And I watched him do it on stream and cheered him on because I want him to succeed. But
Look,
now
5 legendary weapons and you'll have more than me.
Yeah, now I go, oh, yeah, that's all. That's all.
Yeah.
It costs me less to buy this charm in real life than it does in game.
Yeah. $5 for the charm, $7 to buy it in the game.
Good God. What a mess. What a mess. Go ahead, Troy. Troy,
What?
your bomb.
I've already given my bomb.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, horror games
I
on
bombed
Switch.
horror games on Steam Deck.
Oh, yeah. My bad. Okay, from the viewers in chat right now. Oh, yeah, I'm using highlighting. Takao says, A-bomb to Final Fantasy 14. Hey, Yoshi P, the hardcore are not your bread and butter. We had a chat before the show about Criterion Dungeons and some of the new 625 content. So that's where that one's coming from.
I want to bring one last point then on
Yeah, go
Overwatch 2.
ahead.
That's kind of the same feeling I think people have, or at least, but some people have been having with Overwatch 2. Overwatch really came out as a game that was supposed to be available for people who weren't super into shooters and could do massive headshots and whatever.
Right.
And I feel like that has shifted both in terms of like the gameplay and in terms of monetization, even because a lot of people you see talk about it is like, well, don't you remember back when you played Halo on Xbox? You didn't have any achievements or skins there. You just played it and had fun. You don't need those skins in Overwatch to have fun. It's like, yeah, you don't, but that's not how it is nowadays.
Right.
People want to have those.
It's also really weird. Like, again, I was watching some Belluar I'm a huge fan of their content, and they were like, check out this Fortnite skin that's $13 and has 700 customization color options you can do. Obviously, the game's in third person, so you can always see the skin. You've got an emote and another thing that comes with it. Check out this Overwatch skin that's $17, and you can use it on one singular character that you have. And once it's done, there's no customization. And by the way, the game's in first person, so you never very much see the skin besides the front of the weapon anyway. It's like,
I saw someone else do the same thing with Paladin. So it's like a $13 skin that had like a new voice line and everything, and a completely different look. And a Kariko skin. It's like, well, they took her jacket off and gave her pants, and that's it. And it's like $20. So.
From the viewers on YouTube or on MMOBomb.com, Opie, thank you. Opie left a longer comment specific to WoW Dragonflight chat from last week, saying that they disagreed with where I was coming from and saying that, I don't think Dragonflight's going to meet the expectations of the audience at large. There wasn't anything Opie said that I disagree with. But I don't want to read the whole thing, so just giving credit and thanking for the feedback. So I don't disagree with you on any of the things you said, Opie, and I think I did reply to this on YouTube. But I think you and I are coming from a more reasonable standpoint, and we don't expect the expansion launch to fix all of these things from Shadowlands and expansions prior in one shot. We're a little more reasonable than that. And I think if they follow the path they've said they're going to follow, they can get there. Unfortunately, I also believe most of the audience expects the expansion to fix all of this now. And while they may like certain things in the beta, they're going to be disappointed that all of these things cannot be fixed and changed and reverted all at once. I think that's more where I'm coming from. And if I wasn't quite clear on that, I apologize, but thank you so much for the feedback, Opie. Go ahead, Jason.
Ars Jabber says, the bomb just for kid and the perfect Dark Tide soundtrack. Just give us the whole thing already.
Yeah, that Dark Tide soundtrack was pretty awesome in the beta. It really was. Go ahead, Troy.
Metallica fan 1442 at Noob Fridge. If you want to experience some of the best Warhammer novels, check out the Horus Heresy series. Dana Abnett's Eisenhorn Ravenor series. Can't wait for Warhammer 40k Dark Tide.
That's another one Troy and I will absolutely be jumping into together. The beta was a blast. Box saying, weekly bomb, giving an A-bomb to Blizzard because they're not including the pre-patch event and new race/class until November instead of just implementing them on the 25th of October. Well, we did call out last time that this was a 2-part patch and the first patch was more the skill talent revamp. I literally have nothing else to do in WoW since I already leveled classes I was interested in doing and have spent the last 2 weeks leveling allied races and main race characters for every heritage set and unlockable cosmetic option. I even grinded out Pathfinder, which is the flying, for Shadowlands. Congrats. And yes, you're going to have to wait. Pre-patch not going well, by the way. First it was delayed for a little while, and then they've had some maintenances since then, so the kind of fire that we thought it would be, it pretty much is. Question of the week last week. What MMORPG has the best trailer, cinematic, commercial of all time? Which trailer or video, if that game has multiple, and why? Grabbin says, question of the week, World of Warcraft. Basically, every cinematic got a lot of people really excited about whatever was coming next. But for me, the very first one is still my favorite. It's the one I remember watching and thinking, oh my God, that game is going to be awesome. I even bought the first Tauren figure because of it. Great memories about that one. I do remember seeing the WoW trailer the very first time and thinking, even as a Final Fantasy XI player who was like not interested in World of Warcraft, I was like, that's a good trailer. That's a good trailer.
I'm not interested in WoW at all, but even I like their trailers.
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason. There's going to be a recurring theme here, by the way.
Yeah. Ars Jabber says, Elder Scrolls Online is some of the best, but the one I always remember and come back to is Warhammer Online. Just a classic bunch of nameless characters doing heroic things, fighting each other, and making you hyped for PvP. So I don't remember Warhammer. I don't go back that far to remember what its trailer was.
I actually had to go and watch it because it had been a while. It was a pretty good trailer. A pretty good trailer. And that's a game, by the way, that there's like another private server fan run thing that's still a long way from being like absolutely playable, but there's people working on one.
I can still remember almost like every beat of the Lord of the Rings Online trailer, the original one.
Is that your
I never
favorite?
watch that now. It might be.
Go ahead, Troy.
Because there was a long time before you could disable watching it every time you booted up the game. So I always got the first like few seconds every day before I could slam escape.
It'd boot up and go smoke a cigarette. Go ahead, Troy.
Box says, arguably WoW is still the king of cinematic trailers even today. If Blizzard has always done one thing right with all their games, it's always the cinematic. Personally speaking, though, as much as I love the Wrath of the Lich King cinematic, I'm more fond of the Mists of Pandaria trailer because I've always liked Pandarans and I'm a sucker for monks. Still rocking the same Pandaren one I've had since Mists of Pandaria going into Dragonflight. I have to agree with that one. That for me, it's always been World of Warcraft for cinematics. And that Mists of Pandaria trailer, there was just something about that I thought was... I laughed at that entire expansion because I was already gone by then. I was playing Rift during all that. But man, when that trailer hit, I was like, okay, that was...
So at that time, you weren't in Azeroth anymore?
No, I was no longer in Azeroth.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, obviously I love World of Warcraft cinematics and Blizzard cinematics in general, but I'm such a Final Fantasy and Square Enix cinematics baby that there are some things from Final Fantasy XI cinematic-wise that, although graphically don't hold up today the way they once did, they're still emotional favorites of mine.
That's a sign too of how much more I've checked out on Overwatch, and that I haven't even watched the trailer for Kiriko yet. I just don't even care.
Yeah. And then like Final Fantasy 14 does the expansion reveal trailers, and those are all very good, but they don't do like cinematics in the way you think of cinematics, like if you're sitting there playing an RPG and stuff. Yes, there are cutscenes and things like that, but everything's in-game rendered, so it's kind of a different vibe. I'm okay with it and I like it, but it's a different vibe from like sitting back and watching, the Dragonflight trailer reveal or something like that.
A good point in Japan is they were good. They were better than the game, probably.
Yeah, yeah. Star Wars: The Old Republic. Get 'em all 69, great name. Warhammer Online. It kickstarted a love for MMO PvP that at this point only WoW touches, but yeah, EA Mythic kills all it touches.
Well, they killed it.
They killed it
all right.
They killed the game. The trailer was so good, it killed the game.
Trailer killed it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Nobody brought up the Mr. T commercials. Nobody brought up the
I watched a bunch of those.
Night Elf Mohawk.
They just feel dated. That and the
They
Shatner, and they had Jean-Claude Van Damme did some in French.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, I don't know.
Question of the week this week. What is the best class you've ever played in any MMORPG? What was the game and why was it the best class ever? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to give us your weekly bombs. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Always Online podcast. Until then, Troy, where can everybody find you?
Hey, check me out on Twitter at NoobFridge.
Jason, wonderful to have you. Congratulations on your win. Where's everybody finding you?
On Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter, and if you want to look at Overwatch League stuff at OwlStatsNet.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb so we can tweet at you with all the articles, first look videos, podcasts, giveaways, and more. Stay tuned for a nice Guild Wars one next week. Stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.